A live grenade lands inches from pinned-down Marines. Time slows to a crawl as one man makes an unthinkable choice. The camera is tight on a patch of dry, cracked earth. A small, dark object tumbles into frame, landing with a soft thud that raises a puff of dust. It is ridged, metallic, and malevolent. From its top, a tiny fuse burns with an angry, spitting hiss. This is the sound that slices through the noise of combat. It is the punctuation mark at the end of a life, a timer counting down in fractions of a second. This is Korea. The date is August 17, 1952, and for a young Marine, time has just run out. We pull back to see the vast, unforgiving landscape of the Korean peninsula. Jagged hills, stripped bare of trees, rise like broken teeth against a hazy, indifferent sky. The ground is a scar of trenches and craters, a testament to a brutal, grinding war often forgotten in the shadow of other conflicts. Here, men are fighting and dying over inches of rock and dirt, in a stalemate measured in blood. Among them is Private First Class Robert Simanek. We see a close-up of a young man's face, barely out of his teens. His jaw is set, his eyes, clear and focused, scan the desolate terrain. His helmet is scratched, the chin strap worn and frayed against his skin. He is a member of Company F, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, an organization with a legacy forged in fire, now being tested again in this cold, harsh land. His uniform is caked with mud and dust. His hands, gripping the wooden stock of his rifle, are calloused and grimy. His world has been reduced to the essentials, the weight of the pack on his back, the man to his left, the man to his right, and the ever-present threat hiding just over the next ridge. The air itself feels heavy, thick with tension and the low, distant rumble of artillery. A patrol moves out from the relative safety of the main line, a thin file of men silhouetted against the rising sun. Each step is deliberate, each crunch of a boot on loose gravel a potential betrayal. They move through a maze of shallow communication trenches, their knuckles scraping against the rough-hewn dirt walls. Sunlight glints off the bayonet fixed to a rifle. Sweat traces a clean path through the grime on a Marine's neck. There is no conversation, only the language of hand signals and quick, nervous glances. Private Simanek is part of this patrol, a ghost moving through a dead landscape. He looks up at the ridge line, his eyes narrowed against the glare. The silence is the worst part. It stretches, thins, and feels ready to snap. It's a silence filled with unseen eyes and the cold metal of aimed weapons. He shifts the weight of his rifle, his finger resting just outside the trigger guard. Then the world explodes. A single rifle shot cracks the morning air, sharp and distinct. It is followed by the terrifying, ripping sound of an enemy machine gun opening up. Dirt erupts in angry spurts all around the Marines. Puffs of dust dance at their feet as bullets thud into the earth. A desperate shout rips through the air at contact front. Chaos descends in a heartbeat. The disciplined file of men dissolves as Marines dive for any available cover. Muzzle flashes flicker from an unseen enemy position dug into the hillside. Simanek and his comrades return fire, the rhythmic bark of their M1 Garand adding to the cacophony. Brass casings spin and eject, catching the light as they fall into the dirt. Smoke begins to cloud the air, acrid and suffocating. A Marine next to Simanek grunts, slumping back against the trench wall, his hand clutching his shoulder. Another scrambles to a forward position, laying down a base of suppressive fire. Simanek stays low, his cheek pressed against the rifle stock, firing controlled shots toward the enemy flashes. The ground trembles with the impact of incoming mortar rounds. The sky is filled with smoke and the whine of shrapnel. He and 5 other Marines find themselves pinned down in a shallow weapons pit, a desperate scrape in the earth that offers minimal protection. They are shoulder to shoulder, the air thick with the smell of sweat, fear, and gunpowder. Bullets snap and whiz just over their heads, close enough to feel the air move. They are trapped, caught in a carefully prepared kill zone. The enemy has the high ground, the advantage, the initiative. Through the haze, a new movement is seen from the enemy trench. A dark shape, the silhouette of an arm, swings in a high arc. An object is released, tumbling end over end against the gray sky. It traces a perfect, terrible parabola, heading directly for their position. A flicker of motion, a small black dot growing larger. Time seems to warp, stretching and slowing down. Every Marine in the pit sees it. Their eyes widen in shared primal terror. The object lands with that same soft thud as before, just feet away from them. It is a grenade. It rolls slightly in the loose dirt and comes to a stop in the center of their small group. The hiss of the fuse is impossibly loud in the sudden lull of their own firing. For one frozen second, there is only the grenade. Its presence fills the entire world. It is a promise of violent, instantaneous death. Two other Marines are directly in its path, paralyzed by the sight, their faces masks of disbelief and horror. In that second, 1,000 calculations flash through Robert Simanek's mind, not as thoughts but as pure, instinctual impulse. He sees the faces of his friends. He sees the burning fuse. He understands the simple, brutal math of the situation. There is no time to pick it up, no time to throw it back. There is only one choice. His body moves before his mind can argue. With a surge of adrenaline, he plants his feet in the loose soil. He shoves one of the frozen Marines hard, pushing him away from the lethal device. The man stumbles back, his eyes still locked on the grenade. Then, without hesitation, Simanek dives. He does not dive away. He dives forward. His arms are outstretched as he launches his entire body toward the small, fizzing piece of metal. He twists in midair, a deliberate, calculated motion to cover as much of the blast as possible. His chest hits the ground, his body landing directly on top of the live grenade. He presses himself into the hard, unforgiving earth, wrapping himself around the imminent explosion. His helmet scrapes against the dirt. He squeezes his eyes shut, his teeth clenched, bracing for an impact he knows he cannot possibly withstand. He has made a conscious decision to absorb the entire, furious power of the blast with his own flesh and bone. The world ignites in a flash of white-hot light, seen even through his closed eyelids. A deafening, concussive roar rips through the trench, a physical force that lifts him and slams him back down. The ground heaves. Pain, immense and absolute, blossoms through his entire body. It is a fire that consumes his legs, his back, his torso. Then mercifully there is only darkness. A deep, silent void swallows the light and the noise. Silence returns to the trench, a stunned, ringing silence broken only by the fading echo of the blast. Smoke, thick and gray, billows from the spot where Simanek lies. It stings the eyes and chokes the throat. For a moment nothing moves. Then slowly the two Marines he saved begin to stir. They are dazed, their ears ringing, but they are alive. They push themselves up, untouched by the deadly shrapnel that should have torn them apart. They stare, horrified, at the still, broken form of their friend. His uniform is shredded, stained a dark, spreading crimson. He is alive. A low moan escapes his lips. His body is a ruin of catastrophic wounds, but a pulse, faint and thready, still beats. Medics are screaming for a stretcher. Hands, gentle but urgent, work to apply pressure dressings, to stop the bleeding, to save the man who had just saved them. They lift him carefully from the blood-soaked earth, his body limp, his face pale as death. As he is carried from the trench, the battle still raging around them, the other Marines of Company F watch him go. They see not a victim, but a symbol of a sacrifice so profound it defies comprehension. He had looked death in the eye and chose to shield his friends with his own body. Robert Simanek survived. Against all odds, through months of agonizing recovery, he clung to life. The severe wounds would be a part of him forever, a permanent reminder of that single, deafening moment in a Korean trench. For his incredible act of valor, for his conspicuous gallantry at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, Private First Class Robert Simanek was awarded the Medal of Honor. His name was added to the hallowed list of America's greatest heroes. The medal itself is a star hanging from a blue ribbon, but its true substance is forged in moments like this, in the split-second decision made in the dust and the chaos, when one human being chooses to give everything for another. He saved 2 Marines that day, ensuring that 2 families would not receive a telegram, that 2 futures would not be extinguished on a forgotten hillside, halfway around the world. Tell me your favorite war story I should talk about next. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video.